on YouTube there, seems to be live, and there I think we're live on Facebook also. I'm just going to wait and get a sound check from the girls. Hopefully we have some. Can you hear us there? I'm testing 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2 3 4. Yeah, so we're good on YouTube, and I think, are we okay on Facebook? It's just Facebook we're waiting on now, folks. Any luck on Facebook, Cameron? Just waiting on it to come up. Apologies for the delay. Yeah, I think we're good to go on. Yep, on both. Thank you. So it's been a wonderful day for James Flynn and his family, and hopefully when the paperwork is completed within the next few days, hopefully that's expedited as quick as possible, and that the DPP and An Garda Síochána will make the transition as smoothly as possible for James to his bail conditions to be finalised and James to be returned to where he belongs with his wife and children. So obviously it's a wonderful, wonderful day for James and his family, and a small step, I don't know what they call it, a small victory on our campaign to bring our son home. But it, sorry, our sound? Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So it's a small step, but it is very, very vitally important that this decision today highlights that Aaron's campaign from the very beginning. Oh, you want to move? Which one? Yep. Oh, sorry. Cameraman's giving out to me here. So it proves that our campaign from the very beginning was more or less telling the truth. If we go back to the news coverage not that awfully long ago, we had pictures of James Flynn and his brother Eugene, and all sorts of pathetic headlines churned out. I think it might have been by Patrick O'Connell or Owen Reynolds possibly, about Eugene and Jimmy's life in America, and how the narrative was created that these young men in some way had fled Ireland because of the death of Detective Mark Adrien Donahoo. And it was shown today quite clearly in court today. I think it just mightn't have been put across so concisely in the initial bail hearing. But James and Eugene were continually, from 2010 and even before, travelled back and forth from Ireland to America and from America to Ireland long before this terrible tragedy, and just using that normal way those boys lived, and that they had their businesses in America, they had business here in Ireland, and the way that was used and abused by the prosecution, and in particular Mark Phillips, was quite sickening. But I think it was made quite clear today, which is very, very good, and it highlights how something so simple, and how you, the public, were told how these people went to America and how they were hiding in America. And James's barrister today made it very clear that everything James Flynn done in America, and indeed here in Ireland when he returned to Ireland and his businesses in Northern Ireland and in the UK, everything was done under his own passport, his own name, his own date of birth, as exactly the same as Aaron. And when he was in America, everything was done, his name, his passport, his licence, his own date of birth. And this story pushed and peddled by the Irish authorities, and indeed the Garda Síochána, and of course our mainstream media, that the boys left Ireland and were hiding. Nothing could be further from the truth. And that was very much highlighted today, and I do believe Judge Creedon took that on board. I think she did mention it in her summing up. Now, those two parts to the objections, which was put forward not only by the prosecution, but was Mark Phillips took the stand to attempt to deny and refuse bail for James Flynn on 2 counts. And this happened in the first bail hearing. And again, this is vitally, vitally important to what we have said during the course of Aaron's campaign. So Mark Phillips put forward two lines of what he said complaints or concerns, serious concerns they had. So the serious concerns was, one, that James was a flight risk because he had businesses, because there was bail money and quite substantial portfolio of properties put up in England for James when James was looking for bail against his extradition in the UK. And this seemed to be, again, blown out of all proportions. But James's mum spoke extremely well today, and she explained that she went to her family members, and it was her family who gathered round and respected them and respected James, and they put their properties and homes indeed on the line because they knew the truth behind James Flynn. They knew James had nothing to do with the brutal murder of Detective Garda Adrien Donahoo. So, and that flight risk was the reason that James's bail was denied initially in the CCJ. But the judge reversed that today. Now there is a substantial cash bond, and obviously I don't think there are any unusual bail conditions James will have to sign on in local Garda station. He'll have to stay within the Republic of Ireland, have a telephone, an assigned telephone with him at all times. So standard bail conditions. So we're delighted James will be able to come home, have a normal life, and he already has, the letter was read out today, he has a job offer. So hopefully James will be getting ready for work on Monday morning, which would be the ideal scenario. It may take a few days more than that, but James will be heading to work and having a normal life. So the second strand is where Phillips collapsed this bail application from their perspective. This whole nonsense of intimidation and lies again. I can't see it here. Let's see where it is. Yep, we have now. In the recent 4 videos in respect of my conversation with Rowan Flynn, central to our proof that this man here was telling lies, on the 15th of April 2024 and on the 28th of April this year, he repeated most of those lies today again. Now, we will going to break down some of the absolute nonsense he spoke today. I think he stated that there was a form of intimidation was Caroline, Aaron's mum, standing in the foyer of the court, CCJ. Now, there may have been 40 members of An Garda Síochána around us, and there was only me and Caroline there because this was all taking place during COVID. The country was in complete lockdown. And Caroline some way intimidated this fella. He's 6'3" or 4". He's the same height as the man who shot his colleague Adrien Donahoo. That's exactly what he is. And he sat in court today, and he actually asked the judge to accept that Caroline, who's 5'2", Aaron's mum, said that that tape will put the wind up you. And they're talking about Matt Cassidy's tape. That's the tape where, as a Homeland Security agent, offered James Flynn inducements and offered a green card to James's brother Eugene if the told lies against Aaron Brady. So he sat up in a court, a high court in Dublin, and admitted that Caroline, who's 5'2", intimidated him. It's so pathetic, and I will bring all the other cases where he said people said things. One of the gentlemen that was with us a number of days in the courtroom, Mark Phillips, said this today. I do believe there's a virtual tour of the CCJ, and I'll show you the geography of it. And that Mark Phillips said that this man looked at the jury. Now this is 50 yards away. He's standing at the lift. The jury are walking through a dark and closed balcony, and this man looked at the jury for about 6 seconds. Now I do believe Judge Creedon was somewhat taken aback and had a little smirk when Phillips was reading out some of this stuff. But it's important we get through this and break it all down. And it adds once again to everything we have said in the beginning, that these people are making up a story to try and create a narrative that simply doesn't exist. Because they brought all this into James Flynn's case, and I'm speaking here now about the release of the video clips of Rowan giving a statement in New York. They were very quiet on that today, I'd have to say. They were much more vociferous in the initial bail hearing. But that may have something to do because of our recent videos, where we have shown quite clearly Rowan Flynn was in constant contact with the Brady family, and every word this man said was lies. So we continue to build on the narrative we put forward. Now, most of you are watching the recent videos. A lot of you will have followed our campaign and seen most of the 500-600 videos, lives, podcasts we have done. So the instant where Mark Phillips, I'm not sure it was Mark Phillips, it could have been Garda Kenna. Garda Kenna was scared quite a few times, it seems, by people saying things to him in the court. Now, no one threatened him or anything. There was comments made, and Garda Kenna seems to have been scared a few times. But if you have watched our videos, you will have seen quite clearly what I said about this man. I'm after saying it here again. He's a liar, he's a perjurer, and he has framed our son. Now, I was in the court there today. They were more than welcome to speak to me. I was there in the court today, and if Mark Phillips, the Irish judicial system, or Garda Kenna, I've called him he told us he's an expert in nothing. But I said he committed perjury. He told a heap of lies, and Garda Kenna, along with this man and Lorcan Staden, prosecution counsel, tampered with evidence. Now, the finish off, we've spoken about the wall of silence we have faced in relation to our videos, Aaron's campaign. And would you believe today, no mainstream journalists? No one to report that the man who allegedly stole a vehicle that was allegedly used in the Modern robbery and the murder of Detective Mark Adrien Donahoo, they hadn't the respect for Adrien to turn up at the court. Now, I know it was out in Clover Hill, and I know the majority of the work is carried out in the CCJ or the High Courts, but I am certain Reynolds, Schiller, Reardon, Talent, all those people know where the High Court is in Clover Hill. I'm sure they're aware of its location. So where were they? And up until, I think, Well, there's 6:10. The girls put in a search. Can you see that there, Ken? Yeah. Put James Flynn into the search bar on Twitter. No results for James Flynn. There you go. That's your mainstream journalist in Ireland. Where's Paul Reynolds now? He wasn't there today asking for comments on the steps of the court. And it is total and complete disrespect for the memory of Detective Garda Adrien Donahoo. And I'm sick to the pit of my stomach the way this man and the clown sitting with him in the back of the court today have treated Adrien Donahoo. But as I say, hopefully it's a small step for our campaign. But it's vitally important now to remember how we've got here with James. James has been totally acquitted of the more than robbery at Yorkshire Credit Union on the 25th of January 2013. Now, he has also been acquitted, and it was funny today in court, he has been charged again with the same charges that were on his extradition warrant. Now, there's 10 burglaries, is it 8 or 10 burglaries? And I do believe James was in America. Now, Mr. Phillips did correct us and told us that James, he wasn't in the country, he said. He wasn't in the jurisdiction. He was in America, where this gang committed some of these burglaries. And they're going to retry James on all these burglaries. But James was found not guilty of those burglaries earlier by Judge Tony Hunt. He changed the amendment. He said the evidence was insufficient for the 8 or 10 burglaries, and he found James guilty of the theft of a blue Passat in Clogherhead. And I will remind everyone once again, the only eyewitnesses said the Passat used in the more than robbery was silver or grey. So James was found guilty, and because of the, well, we would say deliberate manipulation of the indictment by Tony Hunt, and we say deliberate because it's quite possible it was done just to draw this whole scenario out and kick the can down the road. But we have a retrial penciled in for the 3rd of February. I think it's the 3rd of February 2026. So James will be free to work with his legal team, and every scintilla, Brendan, every scintilla of evidence will be brought up the road to Dublin to prove the lies, the tampering, the perjury. Every scintilla. And we will see to that. So we look forward to February. So I think that's just a brief breakdown of what happened. And again, the jigsaw pieces always fit in as we have portrayed them. And as our campaign has moved forward, we've always put ourselves out there for questions and to be quizzed or asked for clarification on any point. Now, there are people out there, I don't know whether it's Pat Mary or not, has a couple of fake accounts asking stupid questions, but we will deal with those people. But we are really asking now for people to go back, look at the videos, because this is where it's going to get very important. We go back and look at Terran Feckin, where the car, and Clogherhead, the car was stolen, the burn site, the murder scene, all those things, because I know the interest in this case is growing, and we know that the interest will grow now as and when our mainstream media haven't got on to Twitter yet to tell us about James's bail, successful bail application. But if you're going back to look at the previous videos, please do so. Please send in questions, ask about the cars, the farm, or the blue lights, the times, the tampering with the CCTV footage in Dromiskin and Castlebellingham. Ask about all those things, ask for clarification, because as we clarify all these points, the people that are joining in on our own story will get more clarity, particularly when we're coming up to James's retrial. But we are hoping before that we'll have our son home before that happens in February next year. But that is going to have to happen irrespective of Aaron's situation. So please do that for us. Please interact with our campaign and ask relevant questions. If you want to make plans, Dave, you're more than welcome to do so. It's a free country. But ask questions and seek clarification, because that is going to be vitally important as we move forward. I don't think there's anything else. Other than we did get a little bit of new information from our contact, and it's only really, this is for Mark Phillips and Paul Gill. Mark, you told us that you sort of knew about travel to the United States. This is your in the affidavit, Mark, Mr. Phillips. On arrival in New York, Inspector Phillips was made aware that inquiries by Homeland Security investigators had discovered an immigration issue with Ronan, and that there was a warrant for his arrest to investigate this immigration issue further. So that was his extradition warrant. So you tried to suggest there, Mr. Phillips, that you didn't know about yourself, Paul Gill and Jim McGovern, didn't know about Ronan's extradition warrant in October 2017. And someone has sent us, I presume this is a genuine email from Paul Gill. Please find attached copy of book of evidence in respect of Rowan Flynn for the assault on Tommy Eccles. DPP directions are also attached. There is an extradition warrant in existence for Rowan Flynn. I will contact extradition section on Monday the 11th of September to see what's the position in the same. See if you could get it shifted, Paul. Is that what you were trying to do? Make it disappear? You're trying to tell us you didn't know about it, Mark, in October 2017. Now, I'm assuming this email is, I can only assume that this email is correct. And guess who's also at the top of the email? Patrick Murray and Matthew B. Katsky, Homeland Security. So we have to look into that, break down the dates and the times, but the jigsaw pieces keep falling into place. And we will continue to look under all the nooks and crannies and the little stones and the little areas where we will find more pieces for the jigsaw. So once again, congratulations to Jimmy and his legal team today. As I say, hopefully the conditions can be ironed out quickly. Jimmy signs the paperwork and excuse me, he will be home in the arms of his family. And this is one of the, and Jimmy was the only other alleged gang member. It's very important to see the whole story here. What's the rest of the gang? The Dublin accent, the 6'3", the stocky man at 6 foot, the female driver. Pat Murray, Mark Phillips, your whole investigation was a farce. It's disgusting. It berates and it belittles the memory of Detective Adrien Donahoo. The two of you, along with the rest of the guards in Fort Apache Dundalk, should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. What you've done to the memory of that man, just to protect yourselves. So we've received more material from our contact. I have to go through that and we'll bring that to you as soon as possible. And obviously we'll be moving on with more of the information where they tried to link Jimmy and Aaron to certain parts of this case. And now people will understand James Flynn had nothing to do with the murder and robbery at Lordship Credit Union. James Flynn had nothing to do with that brutal crime. And although James only has bail at the moment, if and when it comes to court on February 2026, my word, James Flynn will have everything, every scintilla, Brandon. every scintilla of information. So please, a number of friends have contacted us and family having major difficulty trying to share and get Harold's story out there, all sorts of blocks here, there and everywhere. So we're asking you, please continue to like, comment and share. Please hit the share button. I think Caroline is saying that whatever sort of blocks on it, you may have to try and share 2, 3 or 4 times. See again?
Or just wait.
Or just wait. Yeah, share. It won't go. Wait a little while, share again. But please be patient. Please help us get Aaron's story out there. Once again, thank you for watching, and we will be back with some very relevant footage with the new information we have early next week. And I suppose I will finish by saying Ronan and Ronan's family, it was never more important. Your name, Ronan, and your family were used as bait, as a battering ram against Jimmy Flynn today. So once again, thank you, and please, Ronan, make that decision, make that affidavit, and we'll talk to you all very soon. God bless, and we'll see you all in the next video. That one off now. Thank you everyone on Facebook.